Hello students, in the previous lecture we have studied about the causes of loss of biodiversity. Now today we will study about the conservation of biodiversity. So in this first we will study about the reasons for conserving biodiversity, and secondly we are doing approaches to biodiversity conservation. So first we are studying here is reasons for conserving biodiversity. So the reasons for conserving biodiversity, it can be grouped into three categories. First is narrowly utilitarian, second is broadly utilitarian, and third is ethical. So first we will study narrowly utilitarian reasons. So these are obvious reasons. Human beings derive a number of economic benefits like food, fiber, firewood, industrial products like resins, gums, dyes, tannins, etc., and medicinal products. More than 25% of the drugs are derived from plants, and about 25,000 species of plants are used by native people as traditional medicine. Now, second point is broadly utilitarian reasons. So, biodiversity plays a major role in providing ecosystem services which cannot be given a price tag. So, they are production of oxygen, pollination of flowers without which fruits or seeds are not produced, aesthetic pleasures like bird watching, watching spring flowers, walking through the thick forest, and waking up to bulbul's song. Now, third point is ethical reasons. Every species has an intrinsic value, even if it is not of any economic value to us. So, we have a moral duty to care for their well-being and pass on the biological legacy in a proper form to our future generations. Next, we will study about the approaches to biodiversity conservation. So, there are two major approaches for conservation of biodiversity. First, we have in situ conservation, or we can call it as on-site conservation. And second, we have ex situ conservation, or we can say that off-site conservation. So first, we will discuss about in situ conservation. So it is the process of protecting the endangered species of plant or animal in the natural habitat, either by protecting or cleaning up the habitat itself or by defending the species from predators. So it helps in recovering populations in the surroundings where they have developed their distinctive features. So in this you can say that we have various examples also. We have national parks, biosphere reserves, then wildlife sanctuaries also. There are 34 biodiversity hotspots in the world, and these hotspots are also regions of accelerated habitat loss also. So there are three hotspots in India, and they are Western Ghat and Sri Lanka, Indo-Burma and Himalaya. And there are 425 biosphere reserves in the world. So what is a biosphere reserve? A biosphere reserve is a specified area in which multiple use of land is permitted by dividing it into three zones. So that is a core zone, a buffer zone, and the manipulation zone. So India has 14 biosphere reserves, 90 national parks, and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. So in situ conservation, we also have this sacred forest also. So these are the undisturbed forests without any human intervention, and they are surrounded by highly degraded landscapes. Such forests include a number of rare, endangered and endemic species. So such sacred groves are found in Khasi and Jantia hills in Meghalaya, Western Ghat regions of Karnataka and Maharashtra, Aravalli hills of Rajasthan, and Sarguja, Chanda and Bostar areas of Madhya Pradesh. Now we have second approach, which is ex situ or off-site conservation. In this method, threatened animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in special setting when they are be protected and given special care. Here we have zoological parks, botanical gardens, and wildlife safari parks are used for this purpose. India has today 35 botanical gardens and 275 zoological parks. So, ex situ conservation helps in recovering populations or preventing their extinction under simulated conditions that closely resemble their natural habitats. We have various examples. I have already told you that botanical gardens, zoos, arboreta, seed or pollen banks, then gene banks also. So now this gametes of threatened species can be preserved in viable and fertile conditions for long periods of time using cryopreservation technique. So cryopreservation is a method of conservation by storage of materials at ultra low temperatures for a very long period. Gametes of threatened species can be preserved in viable and fertile conditions. Plants are propagated using tissue culture methods also called as micropropagation. Then seeds of many different genetic strains of commercially important plants are kept viable for longer period in seed banks. So here is the difference between in situ conservation and ex situ conservation, which is mostly asked in the exam. So you students all go through these differences. So whatever I have told you earlier, so it is mentioned over